Hey, what's up, fam? Thank y'all for tuning in once again. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. So they always call us Black Americans conspiracy theorists, always thinking that the white man trying to hold us down, this, that, and the third. And for, you know, well, I guess for a good part, that is true because there's just a history of it. But now there is an article put out, and I'm kind of amazed at the timing of this because it's election season, and we know the Democrats are trying to pander to Black American voters, acting like they're trying to do things for us now. Like I said, they done had what 400 years. Well, how long has this country been around? About 200-300 years. They've had that 1776, 1719. Yeah. They've had that long to get it right, and yet they still, for some reason, don't know how to fix it. Well, there's a story out in a poll out that it pretty much validates what us Black folk been saying. But let's go to the article. This is from MSN.com by way of, what is this, KARD Monroe? This is a Fox News station. And it reads, a majority of Black Americans believe U.S. institutions are conspiring against them. A Pew poll finds. Pew does a lot of polls. I'll tell you what. Most Black Americans say they've experienced racial discrimination regularly or from time to time, which colors how they view U.S. institutions like policing, the political system, and the media, according to a study on conspiracy theories. The study released Monday by the Pew Research Center examines the intersection of race and conspiratorial belief. It's the second installment of the research group's series on how Black Americans see success and failure. So I think just trying to put the information out there, that way allow these politicians to jump at it and grab it and use it for their political gain. It says the study defines racial conspiracy theories as ideas that Black Americans might have about the actions of U.S. institutions that aren't necessarily the stated goals of the institution. I may try to use the word Black Americans nowadays. It used to be African Americans, but now since a lot of people of us don't consider ourselves, really can't be called African Americans, because a lot of us, as they've realized, have been here since the beginning of the country, even before the beginning of the country. So you can't just call us African Americans. They try to tell us that we all came over here on slave ships, and we believed it. Let's just be honest. We believed it because that's what we was taught as kids. But as we're getting older and the information is out there, we can go grab the information. We're starting to see that a lot of our ancestors have been here. You can trace them all the way back to before slavery. So that is interesting that they use Black Americans now. It says the study stresses that these are claims that Black Americans may have because of America's documented history of racist policies largely impacting Black communities. Pew examined claims including conspiratorial beliefs about how major institutions discriminate against Black Americans and support for generational adages, such as you have to work twice as hard to advance compared with white Americans. For instance, the study found that more than 8 in 10 Black Americans surveyed agree with the statement that Black people are more likely to be incarcerated because prisons want to make money on the backs of Black people. And more than 6 in 10 Black adults surveyed agreed that institutions such as the criminal justice system, the country's economic system, and policing are designed to hold Black people back. Also, why did it take a poll for them to what? Every time it has something to do with like Black people, there's always has to be a study or some research done in order for them to believe what we're saying. Now we can come out with example after example after example, and they'll come up with every explaining that they can to make it seem like we're crazy. Like it says Black people are more likely to be incarcerated because prison want to make money. Remember, America was pretty much began and ran on slavery for hundreds of years. Okay. When slavery was abolished, what have you, on residential terms or free world terms, it was still institutionalized. It was put in the prison system because like the 14th Amendment or the 13th. God dang, my brain, I'm fogging up right now. But anyway, the amendment that abolished slavery stated that, it's abolished from, pretty much natural everyday citizens, people in the free world, except in the prisons. Okay. Except in the prison. So basically in the prisons, when you're incarcerated, you can be considered slaves and to do slave labor, basically working for free, institutionalized, and can't get out. So that's all they did. They ended slavery, and then they started what I like the police force or whatever you want to call it, people with paddy wagons. Well, they did that to go catch runaway slaves. But when slavery was over, you just had, people just being brothers and sisters being rounded up and taken to, like, you could take them and taken to jail where they did free work. Yeah, and then you had prisons that was like sell or lease out prisoners to other prisons or to plantation farms to continue to do the work that former slaves did. So, and it's still going on today because you'll have prisoners in one prison, then they get shipped to another one, then they might get shipped to another one. There's reasons for that. But you got prisoners that still bust rocks. You got prisoners that still pick cotton, out there, laboring out in the sun, build things inside the prisons for the free world. You still have this, and they only get, 10 cents, 17 cents an hour. If that, some prisons don't pay prisoners anything. So it's still around. So yeah, that's why we would say, well, hell, they just took black folks from slavery, chattel slavery, and put us in the jails to do the same doggone thing. That's it. As for the institutional, as the criminal justice system, the country's economic system, and policing are designed to hold black people back. A lot of times these folks do look at us and come up with a premeditated belief about you as an individual based on their own prejudices. It really does happen. I can recall, like years ago, this is like 1999, 2000, had like at the time it was a brand new Malibu. And I'm driving in like a little suburb of Dallas, dropping my daughter off to a daycare on my day off. Well, not my day off, I go to work a little later, but dropping her off and heading back home. And the police, for like 2 weeks, would get behind me and follow me. Like seriously. And once they get back toward the city limits of that little city, they'd turn off and go on back the other way. This happened like 2-3 days a week, at least 3 days a week for 2 weeks. Crazy. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I done nothing wrong. Did I fit the description? And like I said, it was a Malibu. It wasn't like I had like a Cadillac or nothing. But it was either the car or the color of my skin or both. Riding through Farmers Branch with a fairly new car, I guess just wasn't, typical, in that area. But those little things like that, I've been pulled over, not giving tickets. You know what I'm saying? They pulled me over and said, oh, I thought this, that, and the third. Had a guy pull me over outside my own dang house, leaving my house. Seriously. Pulled out of my house, was driving down, got down to me. Yeah, anyway, driving down. It was me, like neighbors and all our kids and grandkids, stuff like that. Leaving, going out the driveway. And some gonna pull me over, but acting like he was like saying, "Oh, I thought you was this person. You live somewhere, blah, blah, blah." We had a report about mailbox being knocked down. Some bull crap he pulled me over for. I don't know what it was for, but it made no sense. None of my tags was out, none of my lights was out, nothing like that. And he said, "Okay, you can let me go on my street." But like I say, that's dumb stuff that happened. That again, we chalk it up to racism. It said those sentiments exist alongside the reality that black people were 32% of Senate, state, and federal prisoners in 2022, even though they make up just 12% of the overall U.S. population. And it's funny how with some things, percentages may add up, but in others they don't. But when it comes to, they're never in our favor. When it comes to, like, let's say jobs, you want to have diversity, inclusion, all that kind of stuff. If we're only 12% of the population, how come we're not 12% of the job? A lot of times we're not. A lot of times we're less than 10%. Easy. Neighborhoods. A lot of neighborhoods don't want black people in them. So it's like, why they can't be 12% black folks in neighborhoods and whatever the percentages of other nationalities in neighborhoods. It doesn't work that way. A lot of times it's just they don't want to deal with us. for whatever reason. They'll sit there and you get a home appraisal and they find out you black and get in a black neighborhood. Your house is appraised for less than it would be if it's in a white neighborhood. I have done videos where it showed that two houses, not the exact same house, but same kind of specs for the most part. Appraisal for the house in the white neighborhood was, let's say if it was $100,000 and the one in the black neighborhood was probably $50,000. But like I say, it's just assumptions. That's just what they do. They just feel like our stuff is not valuable. But there are written stories about this. This written text history that people's homes in black neighborhoods have always been appraised for less, or homes is owned by black people. Period. You got stories, you got lawsuits, all that proves all that. But yet we're supposed to be crazy, right? Pew study draws from a poll of black Americans conducted last September. Study authors say that views are unlikely to have shifted since the respondents were surveyed. Heck no, the study also explored why black adults believe these narratives and allowed respondents to explain how they feel about discrimination and racial disparities in their own words, said senior Pew researcher and study author Kiana Cox. She added that although the survey was released during an election year, let me start over. She added that although the survey was released during an election year, it does not focus on partisan politics. Right. Rather, it showcases the feelings black Americans have that can influence how the community views the nation, but often go unheard or aren't taken seriously. Yeah, it might not be partisan, but it's done purposely at this time so that the politicians, like I said earlier, can use this information to try to pander to black votes, probably particularly the Democratic Party. There are anecdotal conversations among black people about the system, the man, the invisible hand, the agenda that is set out to create a situation where black people can't advance. So we want to explore that, Cox said. We also want to figure out how many black people are familiar with these narratives about the system being designed for their failure and how many black people believe them. So Americans are far from impervious to conspiratorial thinking dating back to the founding of the nation, a legacy that has gained new life as the internet supercharged communication and often spread of misinformation and hoaxes. Okay. Misinformation. Democrats love to say that when it comes to black people. They try to say that we're not smart enough to understand politics, to understand how evil Trump is, how evil Republicans are, how they're going to put us back into slavery. But Democrats, you have been the president in this country for many years, many terms. You have had many opportunities to fix the narrative. People might say, man, y'all just conspiracy theories. Y'all just scared of ghosts. Y'all need to get over it. No. If the majority of the people feel this way, that means there has to be something that's wrong, whether there are actual things that the government is doing or institutions are doing, or something that somebody said and people run with it, so now we believe it's the norm. Either way, you as a politician work for us, as y'all so eloquently put it. So it's up to you guys to say, hey, what you're saying is not true. Don't sit there and tell us that, oh, they just feeding you misinformation. Okay, if they're feeding me misinformation, show me the truth. If I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to voting, show me a reason why. If the Democratic Party and Joe Biden has done so much for black Americans, but yet we just don't see and don't understand politics, break it down to me. Make it simple to me. That's all it is. Hell, the majority, that's what they say, the majority of adults can't read past the 5th grade level. So which means I'm going to need you to break it down to a 5th grade level as to what you have done for black Americans, not just America as a whole, because it hasn't worked. So let's get it right. Look at it through our eyes, like supposedly this research has done. Let's see, the Pew study notes that black Americans have a unique relationship with both discrimination and claims of government conspiracy theories, given the nation's legacy of slavery, Jim Crow era segregation laws, and modern day discrimination against black Americans by public and private actors. See, slavery and Jim Crow Okay, those are actual things, and those things and the remnants of those have not gone away. When you have a history of American institutions actually conspiring against black people, it's not hard to believe that anything else would be true. Where is this? The whiteness of wealth tells you how the tax codes created and what you call it, amended and changed for rich white people, right? Where black people, it shows where black people have been taxed more than the average white person, just by the way codes are done and just by the way people are being paid, right? What else I got? The color of money, black banks, and a racial wealth gap. A racial wealth gap that we will probably most likely never close if the institutions keep running the way they're being ran. But this tells you about how, what's in here? About the banking system. How we were supposed to been fed the stories, supposed to be made to believe that just put your money in the bank and it'll grow. But we kind of find out that black banks was only used for places to hold money for white folks to use. And most black people were not going to get rich off of it because most black people wasn't making that kind of money or making those kind of like stock market investments, making those kind of investments. I saw a story where it was a brother, I think he was either a janitor or a cook or a cleaner or something at a company, or maybe even a driver for white folk. But he used to be around in them circles and listen to these white folks talk about investing in the stock market and stuff like that. So he took that and put his own money in the stock market. And years later, he became a millionaire. Most black folks are never taught that. I myself just happened as a patient caretaker at a hospital, just so happened to be in the room, had a patient that was an investor. And I heard him and another guy talking. So when he was in the room and I go in there and take care of him or whatever, I asked him questions about the stock market and he put me up on game. Everybody's not a PCT. Everybody's not going to be around white folk who understand stocks. But I got the information and then I would relay that information to pretty much any of my people that would listen or, or who was interested in. I say, hey, here's a good way. This is how I started. This is a good way to start. Do this, and this. And then build, but you're not going to get rich overnight. Don't try to overnight stuff, Bitcoin, Dogecoin and all that, and she knew or whatever crap. It don't work for everybody. And it most likely won't work for you. But we're not taught that type of stuff. Put these back. Oh, and the black tax, same thing about pretty much the whiteness of wealth. It's just about how the tax codes were not designed for us. So yeah, these are actual case studies. These are actual things that went on that still pretty much go on in this country today. And again, why do you need a poll to say, oh, them Negroes are telling the truth? You shouldn't. You should take a man at his word because he sees what's really going on. Oh, let me see. Do I want to see? Oh, let's go down. I'm not going to read this whole thing. Let's see. Among black adults who have experienced discrimination, about 3/4 said it made them feel as though the system as a whole was designed to keep them down. Black adults who have faced discrimination also felt varying emotions as a result. 76% felt angry overall. 53% said they worried about their personal safety. I guess that's with the police. 41% felt depressed. For example, this whole depression thing. You know why somebody would be depressed? Because the white man is trying to hold us down. Again, it's because they've been taught their whole life that at any moment the Klan can roll up and burn your house down and hang everybody, assault your wives and daughters, and hang all the men and castrate them. And so they're living living in fear. Feel like they can't never get ahead. They didn't get a fair break. You know what I'm saying? Terrible life. And they just can't. They just can't make it. They don't know what they're gonna do. Woe is me. Instead of being taught, given the mindset of, hey, let's make sure that we do what we need to do. We teach ourselves how to we educate ourselves. basic fundamentals, basic reading and writing and arithmetic, however you want to say it. And then build off of that. Go to libraries, read newspapers, go to take classes on anything you want to learn, and go from there. And in order, because it takes time to build yourself up, and starting today is always the best day to start. Don't start tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. Start today to get in, because you got to go through the ups and downs. And the later you start, them downs are gonna be more detrimental than when you're younger. Because when you're older, now you probably got family, probably got kids, and so you got to be very careful about the moves you make. But if like I say, you start younger, you can make a lot more mistakes, or more. You can take more risk, and you have time to recover from those and succeed later in life. That'll get you up out of depression dealing with. But you shouldn't be. To me, you shouldn't be depressed. I don't live long enough to where I done told y'all. I done been there, thinking the world is black and white, but really the world is green. This country is green. They'll keep that black and white stuff on the back burner. They'll keep it close. As long as you got green. But as long as the green is around, you're not really gonna deal with it. Until it's a whole lot of green. Until it's green that can affect them and they folks and get them off code. But until then, you ain't got no problems. It said researchers surveyed 4,736 black, multiracial black, and non-Hispanic and black and Hispanic respondents last September from across the country. Interesting. Black Americans were also likely to believe racial conspiracy theories about politics. 3/4 of those surveyed said they agree that black public officials being singled out to be discredited more than white officials. I believe that because I've seen stories. Like, and I did a story on how you had like this DEI initiative, George Floyd. You know what they did? George Floyd happened. Everybody's in an uproar. Joe Biden ready to become president. We're going to do everything for black women. Y'all the backbone of the Democratic Party, whatever. And so we're going to do the DEI. And you got all these, you got all these judges, you got all these mayors, super township supervisors, all this kind of stuff. And most of them are black or Latino or LMNOP people. And they got these positions and thinking they doing stuff, but then once everything died down, you get rid of your DEI, what is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Getting rid of that. You got mayors that are being investigated, for certain crimes, and it's just all falling apart right now. You got law people that got laws in place that can take some black people off the, off the judgeship, off the bench. It just all happened right now, but it's cycles. But you have to know, you have to see that that's how it goes. That's it goes through cycles. And so now it's just a cycle of purging all you black folk up out of their positions. But y'all thought it was going to keep you there forever. Even Clarence Thomas is about to go. All this stuff he doing. If they investigating with him. Let's see. In medicine, the survey found that 55% of those surveyed said they agree with the statement that medical researchers experiment on black people without their knowledge or consent. Yeah, we believe that. Say about the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. It just, I know about stories of where they, what do you call it? Sterilize women too. Yeah, they like black girls go to the doctor, probably have a baby, and they'll go in there and make sure they can't have no more kids. They would do this. I think this happened in the Carolinas some years back. Probably still going on. True, recently, the last 30, 40 years, C-sections were a big thing. Hysterectomies were a big thing for young women in their 20s. You know what I'm saying? After they had maybe a couple of babies. And a lot of those black women, low income. That's what they did, So it's like, what do you do? What do you, not what do you do, but how can you deny that that's happened when it's the evidence of it. Philpott says some black Americans may still believe such theories given, now it's not a theory, it's a fact. Like what is it? What's that thing? Racial theory critical race theory. So you try to use that word theory. It's not a theory when you know it's really when it's real. Watch the words that they use, folks. Philpott says some Americans may still believe such theories, given documented episodes of discrimination such as the Tuskegee syphilis experiment and the exclusion of Black Americans from New Deal programs that benefit white Americans. Yeah, because remember the whole civil rights thing was supposed to be for Black folk, but then it became minority based, and all the Negroes said great. And then come to find out white women were benefiting from civil rights acts and monies and bills more than anybody else. White women who were married to white men. Come on now. So yeah, ain't no theory about that. It's not really a conspiracy theory if it's true. Well, there she said it. But anyway, that's all I got for this story, man. Yeah, you didn't have to do no poll. I mean, I guess you did a poll, but you didn't have to do no poll. Just listen to, saying Black Americans talk, and we'll tell you all the time what it is. So now, like I said, as a politician or person in power, so it's up to y'all to make sure, we think otherwise. But anyway, tell me what you think about the story. Leave your comments below. Share with the world. Let's dialogue. You know how we do around here. Don't forget to support the channel. There are 4 ways you can support without any money. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Either way, only cost you no more. Doing all 4 only cost you what? A couple of minutes out your day. But if you do want to support monetarily, you can give super thanks, super chats, or go to the link or the description box below. There's some links there that you can click on to help support the channel. But either way, however you support the channel, I'm grateful for either way. But with that being said, I'll leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.